Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Rowan. Welcome to Lyranwitch. I'm going to be getting another collective message for you guys today. For those of you who are new, this is not my usual setup. I just got a webcam today, so thank you to everybody who makes generous donations to the channel. I will also be getting some different cards soon, so let me know if there's a specific topic that you guys are interested in seeing more of. I'm leaning towards doing some more past life readings and of course lots more animal stuff and plants. So if you have something else that you can think of that you think would be a good suggestion for the channel in terms of cards, let me know. I'm always open to that. Also for you guys, I just want to let you know that I am giving away 2 free readings. I was going to do it once I hit 1,000 subscribers, but I'm very close to 500 and Spirit's like, let's just do it at 500. And I'm like, yes, I'm impatient, so let's do this. So once I hit 500 subscribers, I will be giving away those 2 free readings now. To be in the running, all you have to do is make sure that you're subbed. Make sure that you leave me a comment as well. All right. I appreciate you guys so much. I missed you. I've been on a little bit of a break. I have been updating regularly for my patrons. Love you guys. For everybody else, it has been a second, so I am excited to see what comes forward here. And when I split the deck, we also have Death and Dying and Water. Here's what these look like. So whenever I sat down, the first thing I heard was a song by Boss. Is that how you say it? You could never, ever, ever be that bitch. That song. And I feel like somebody is seeing your worth now, and they weren't before. This is very harsh, but I feel like there's somebody from your past here that was seeing you as kind of aimless or not going anywhere important in life. See how this person's kind of wandering through a maze towards a toilet? Heavy, I know. But you've done a lot of growing since you knew this person. For some of you, this was romantic. For some of you, it was not. Yeah, you've done a lot of learning, a lot of growing. This is showing somebody who's in school, and I'm just hearing Earth School. I feel like you've learned a lot of life lessons, not necessarily academic lessons, since you met this person. Hearing street smarts. Some of you went out and lived a lot after, like, maybe going through some kind of death and rebirth process, or after some of you were very ill. Maybe some of you lost a parent. Something shifted drastically in your life, and you did a lot of healing on your own. Maybe with other friends and soul family, but not with this person. Where are they coming back now? Oh my God. Okay, bottom of the deck. Being lost. Losing something. So this person feels like they were bound before, but they saw you as the one wandering around before aimlessly, and now they're realizing they've been going in circles and you've completely moved forward because of the healing that you went through. This person feels like they're running out of time or can't keep track of time in some way. Maybe they've lost track of how long it's been since they tried to get your attention. I'm hearing since they tried to reel you in last. Ooh, this might be, this could very well be somebody trying to hoover you back in. I don't love that. This person's feeling powerless to the situation now. They're not in control of where you're moving in life anymore. And they've been watching your social media. You've already burned the bridge, I'm hearing. Some of you have gone on to have a family or rebuild your family, I'm hearing for some of you. Some of you went back to school. Your money's looking better. I'm hearing that you stopped criticizing yourself and kind of hearing chewing yourself apart. It's almost like you used to look at specific parts of your body for a lot of you and, you know, get really stuck in your own head about how they looked. Some of you might have been dealing with like an eating disorder or something like this. body dysmorphia, body dysphoria. Yeah, maybe comparing yourself to people online for some of you. And whatever it was that woke you up, put you in the driver's seat of your own life. You were absolutely done. You were guided by spirit and you glowed up a whole lot. A lot of you look totally different, dress totally different, and this person feels like they don't know how to catch up. They don't even understand if they have a place in your life anymore. And for a lot of you, they don't. I'm hearing that right away. Some of you have gone on to work with animals in your professional life or your private life. There was some kind of disaster, I'm hearing. Whatever it was, it's like you found yourself after this. You may have even found a partner, but it's because you were willing to go into these parts of yourself that you didn't realize were lost to you or hidden from you before. A lot of you actually started therapy after being away from this person because whatever it was that was devastating to you, it could have been somebody stalking, gang stalking, bothering you. It completely put you into yourself and revealed this like stuck, scared inner child part. It was like whatever this was. For some of you, it was this person that we're tapping into, but for others, this was an unrelated event that just caused you to realize that this person didn't have a place in your life. Romantic, platonic, family, whatever. It was like whatever energy was kind of like stalking you or hanging around your house woke you up and sent you back to school, sent you back to the earth school. And you're like, oh, I got to figure this out. I got to get, can't show this card, but there's a person that's naked on the stage here. And it's like, you needed to see yourself fully at this point, needed to quit running from things. Some of you, yeah, this is a card about adultery. Some of you might have dealt with that or been doing that yourself. There's like a feeling of being really lost at one point in your life here and really acting maybe out of sorts, or I'm not going to say out of character, but you know, just not being in your best self. We'll put it that way. And this was like a come to Jesus moment for a lot of you. For some of you, the energy that we were picking up around the house, you know, whatever this dark energy was, it could have also been supernatural for quite a few of you here. Some of you are contactees, abductees, and that like completely woke you up. Wow, insects, reptiles, right after that. Now, for those of you who don't relate to that part, you know, that's obviously not for everybody, but I am going to say don't shit on people who've been through that. That was a big part of my awakening as well. Hence the name Lyranwitch. Those are my people. Okay. And there's a lot more star seeds here than people realize. And you can call them whatever you want. I mean, I really honestly prefer the term contactee because I think it's contact. But, you know, a lot of light workers incarnated right now are here for a big purpose, a big reason. And forces from other dimensions will wake your ass up when it's time to get with the process, get with the learning. And it's funny because we got all these cards about school, and one of the ways that your star family or, you know, these other energies will get your attention is whenever you go to sleep, you may dream that you're in a classroom. Okay. And what's really wild about this is I've actually had dreams about people, you know, about being in this classroom, learning from these different beings, right? These light beings. And I'd wake up and maybe I didn't remember everything that happened, but I remembered some of the people that were around. I've met those people in the physical world multiple times. They've showed up for me as clients. They've showed up for me as people I met through Instagram. There's a lot of us having these experiences, and it is really wild whenever they recognize you first. It does happen. So, you know, don't shit on what you don't understand. If that's not your experience, that's totally valid. But if it is, you're absolutely not alone. And there's so many of us in the cosmic school right now. And that's not something that all these distractions in the matrix can get us apart from. The only way that those energies can knock us out of that and put us off kilter, to the point where we can't interact with our star family anymore in a good way, is either to, let's say, get rid of us, as you can see here, or to disrupt our lives so intensely that we have to just focus on the basics. Survival. Do we have enough to eat? Do we have enough to not feel like we're financially drowning? Do we have a roof over our head? Are we protected, or are we free falling through this life with no access to green things because we're just working and working and working and trying to shop and trying to take care of our kids and trying to be a superhero, right? But feeling invisible. You know, all of those things can keep us in this lower vibration that makes it difficult for the angels and the light ones to find us, right? But one of the ways that our soul family can get our attention is through angel numbers. And it's one of the ways that they can just jog our memory and be like, hey, we're still here. I see you going through your daily life. I see you, you know, in relationships, making commitments in your life, going to work, living, right? But at the end of the day, we're going to visit you and we're going to give you upgrades. We're going to help you because you're our people. There are so many souls on earth right now that are truly here for this. And there's more of us coming online, so to speak, really tapping into our higher selves and being able to sustain that than there have ever been on this planet before. Before, in past times, you know, the reason that a lot of times we'll look at people in history and be like, wow, they were so ahead of their time, is because they were light workers who got snuffed out by the matrix, right? And, you know, a lot of them, this is so interesting. I just got the transport card, right? A lot of those people I'm hearing were in a way time travelers. Like they were working on timelines that needed to be prepared for this point in history, okay? And, you know, I'm not going to say that time hopping exists because I don't know that. That's not my wheelhouse. That's not something that I know about in that way. Like the way that they show it on movies and stuff, I don't know, maybe. But in my experience, timeline energy, right, is more so how are you navigating the energies of this point in time, and how are you navigating the energies of the past? Are you bringing the past energy into the present and imbuing it more and more in the present? Or are you moving towards imbuing this present moment with something new and setting a new template for the next thing? That to me is timeline work. You know, you could call somebody a time traveler if they do that, in my opinion. And I really think that some of these, like ancient people, some of these famous people, like these, I don't want to call them celebrities. Yeah, they're correcting me. They're like spiritual figures from the past, were more so like trying to move us forward. They were trying to set the new templates in place. And a lot of us are still doing that work, right? That work is never done, so to speak. And, you know, really what happens is angelics guide you when you're doing that kind of work for the divine, when you're bringing this like ray of hope energy in. It's divinely guided work. Yeah. And it can often lead to a lot of things kind of exploding because the matrix doesn't want that inherently. It polices itself. But the more and more of us that are here doing these things, you know, speaking to each other, really communicating, really putting our money into things that can move this universe forward, right? Move these timelines forward, can really burn that stuff down. And, you know, that's burning down the old templates is still work that will always need to be done, is especially important now. But the thing about it is, since there are so many of us doing it right now, just by sheer numbers, we are doing we're really helping the earth itself to change its frequency and to hold a better frequency. And it's interesting because it's very symbiotic, as it's shown to me, because it's like the earth called us here to do this. So it's like we agreed, yes, but also we agreed because we wanted to. So it's like with the earth itself, you know, the collective spirit of the earth mother, all the animals, all the plants, all these different energies that comprise earth, right? I don't love the term Gaia, but like earth mother. We're all moving forward in this trajectory, and it's like she's helping to, just by sheer volume, like continue bringing in more and more of us, like summoning, right? The thing about planetary energies is they have such an ability to summon because they're ancient. And you know, all things have a spirit, a soul. And it might not work the same way ours does, in the sense that, you know, the earth itself is massive. It doesn't communicate like we do, right? It communicates through action and through biology and through chemistry and all these other different things, and through some of the organisms. Like, it can speak through us at times. There will be times that you are drawn to speak for the earth, you know, and it'll kind of pass through you that way as more of a surge or a wave. But, you know, ultimately, these planetary energies are just so enormous and ancient that they have wisdom that we couldn't comprehend. You know, it's a part of, I think, the God force that's much older than us, and therefore like closer to the full understanding of things. And that's why we can look to Earth as our teacher and as our protector. And, you know, she, they, it can look to us as its children. Ooh, I didn't expect to go on a like kind of rant about light workers, but that was pretty cool. Let's see what else wants to come through here. Feeling called to pull some animal cards. Spirit, let's talk about why this is coming through. Hearing that song again. You could never, ever, 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 ever be that bitch. It's just so funny. I feel like it's the earth itself bringing that song to me right now. Um, it's almost like, you know, I'm really feeling called to talk about how the matrix system and the earth itself are just at odds because they're opposites of each other. You know, the matrix was a template, I guess, a consciousness template I'm hearing, that was created out of opposition. You know, here's the black egg, right? Archonic energy is trying to manifest or birth something new, which, as I'm understanding it, as it's being shown to me in this vision, I guess, right now, it's almost like they created Earth as a way to cultivate energies of higher beings, you know, giving them space to evolve and move through the obstacles that come with being a burgeoning species, right? Becoming conscious, learning things, going through our own phoenix moments, right? Learning how to make use of our lessons. But at the same time, what they were aiming for and being very patient for was this, our knowing our own power, right? So even though there are so many of us, it's like the opposition has never been greater as well. And that's not something to be afraid of. Like, it feels like it kind of doesn't matter in a way. But Earth is showing up and just kind of explaining that at this time and being like, don't forget who you are and why you're here. But the thing is, I'm feeling really called to say right now that it's so important at this time to not get stuck in the opposition, because there is such a focus on it. And the more that we focus on what we don't want, we're going to notice more and more and more of it. And a part of that creates anger, creates this like snowball effect of anger, right? With lapis lazuli, be very cautious, or not cautious, but aware of how you're speaking about your anger and how you're speaking about the world we live in, right? Of course, you can focus on, you know, any of the things that are trying to keep, or have an interest, I should say, in keeping light workers and just humanity and the earth itself in loops and time cycles. But how is that helping you and helping all of us to dream a better future? Because that better future is not going to exist unless we create it. And that is why I think I was being told to talk about, creating at this time. We were talking about dreaming and being in this kind of school, right? And the light workers are always being schooled by our guides. Some of them are galactic, like I was saying. Some of them are ancestral. Some of them are animals. Some of them are people from other times. Some of them are beings I can't even put into words, right? Cosmic intelligence. We're always being schooled by that. And the thing is, like, if you are not able to get into your learning space and not so much focus on this, on what's going wrong and what could possibly hatch or what is hatching that's not good, it's going to take you away from not only your dream time in terms of your rest and your relaxation and your tapping back into your most ancient, I guess, neutral form of who you are, but also it takes you away from your ability to dream forward. And dreaming forward is so needed at this time. We were talking about like time travelers, basically, timeline work, transmuting and alchemizing the timelines. Yeah, literally bringing clear communication and balance, solace, health to the timelines, to the earth. You can't make it up. And with turquoise here, I love it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we were talking about timelines here, and it's just so important to remember that prophetic dreams are not just something you do when you're asleep. You prophesize a future by using your creativity and by choosing to dream better things. Really working on your imagination. What would be a perfect world? Not even perfect, but what would be a balanced world? What would be a world I'd be happy to live in or happier to live in? What could bring this to a neutral space and not a negative space? Because sometimes bringing it to a positive isn't possible at the beginning. Some of the systems that are in place are huge and old, and it's better to focus on neutralizing rather than trying to bring toxic positivity because it's just not ready yet. It's not time yet, right? Whenever you know the difference between what should be completely transmuted into, like, I guess, joy or positivity versus what should just be neutralized into a neutral, just a not terrible, that's going to bring you a level of protection. Because sometimes I'm hearing some of these like very heavy entities or energies that the Matrix has cultivated to keep us in line can prey on disappointment. And protecting yourself from disappointment by being realistic about what you're able to do for certain things or certain people is so important at this time. Really a big deal. Use your logic. It's literally on the Earth card. Abundance, fertility, harvesting, logic. Okay? That's why I keep saying stay grounded. You know, this isn't the time for transcendental meditation all the time. A lot of the things that need done need you to be here and not just be kind of escaping into the higher realms. The reason we incarnated onto this planet was to help the Earth. You can't help the Earth by being just meditating all the time or just dreaming all the time. You have to be able to balance that ability to prophesize in real time, in real life, logically, physically, bringing these things that your creative mind wants into the present, into the physical world, right? And that's where turquoise is showing up here. leadership qualities, clear communication, prosperity, and success. You know, these things are required for us at this time. And I'm really being drawn to leadership qualities. Leadership is what's needed at this time because there's so many light workers just getting like really caught up in the esoteric bullshit, I guess. It's kind of the same thing that happens in social justice circles, I'm not gonna lie, where like everybody that has a good heart in these circles wants the same things. Like we want equality and like good things for people. We want people to be respected and be able to get what they need to be happy, not just survive, right? But people get hung up in all of the labels and all of the philosophy, the little shit that there are going to be disagreements because there's so many different people with so many different backgrounds working on things. And the message I'm getting here is don't focus on the little shit. Like, let it go. There are certain things that we can't always agree on, and that doesn't matter. It's not important. What we need is to have everybody be able to understand that we're going to have differences of opinion, but if we're going the same trajectory and we're trying to ground through the things that need to happen while focusing on using our creativity to blaze through obstacles and understand that there's sometimes ways around things rather than just busting through them, that's going to be the balanced energy that's needed, right? With Moonstone here, that's the balanced energies, is what I'm hearing. That's the quote unquote divine feminine energy that's needed right now. And I don't love the feminizing and masculinizing, whatever, of energies. I don't love that term because I think it's simple and stupid, but basically the idea is you have to be able to do things in the physical and use your spiritual gifts. Right? Like, yeah, it's great to have your third eye open because that can give you warnings, that can help you see people's motives, that can help you see your own motives clearly. It's just seeing clearly, understanding clearly, right? But if that's what you're focused on, instead of using that to, oh, I can use my third eye to tap into spirit about this problem that I'm trying to solve in the physical world, what's a creative way I can do this? What's a creative way I can help this person without harming myself while continuing to have my protection, right? Or how can I see that does this person have the correct trajectory, even though we don't agree on everything? You know, that's what the third eye is for. It's not necessarily for just like visualizing our past lives. Like that can be helpful in your healing, right? I'm a believer in there are times and energies that sometimes get stuck in your craw, so to speak, that just need to be released for certain people at certain times. Not everybody, not all the time. It's for people with a lot of karma who are generally very old souls, right? We tend to carry the most because we have a lot going on and a lot of opposition and resistance coming at us. But, you know, it's not all about that. A lot of it is here now. And what Earth is saying and what the guides are saying right now is this is the new energy that we're actually moving into. And that's why I'm really being told by spirit lately, the last 2 years actually, I was told that if you are interacting or see a spiritual teacher and they don't truly emphasize the need for grounding and living a like pretty not normal life, but like a life that's focused on doing things and not just meditating all the time. Um, you know, it's really important to like take those over meditators with a grain of salt or like over, you know what I'm talking about, like spiritual people who are almost avoiding being in a body. That's what I'm referring to. Those are the ones that it's really important to kind of steer clear from because they're missing a big fucking piece of the puzzle. And a lot of those people are more open to spiritual attack and spiritual piloting than you would believe. I mean, I've always been somebody who's very visual. Like I can see energies around people and see colors around people in my mind's eye. Sometimes I see it physically, but not always. And those kind of spiritual quote unquote gurus or teachers or whatever you want to call them, some of them I literally will see energies around them in their videos, like dark entities around them, and I'm like, oh my God, like, and I'll see them kind of over the person's shoulder sometimes, like whispering in their ear, and it's like, it's weird. And you know, that's what the third eye is for. It's for protecting yourself from these kind of people and this kind of shit. It's not all about just prying open your gifts, you know? Should never pry open your gifts. Your gifts are there to open naturally. And it can be a confusing process, which is why we all try to help each other, right? But yeah, look, I was literally talking about like Kundalini and like opening your gifts and stuff. And with the mouse here, you know, they're really saying like, wow, they don't want people to be show-offs anymore. They don't want people to overly work at this. And they don't want people to almost try to make it bigger than it is with the mouse. Because that's what burns you out and leads to a very short, quote unquote, awakening. And it's not even a full awakening at that point because you're not getting the full spiritual knowledge. You can't access the full wisdom if you're hung up on all of the, I'm so different, I'm doing it this way, I'm feeling this way, and that makes me more special than everyone else. That's why I don't love the idea of there only being 144,000 people. That's rebranded evangelical, whatever. Everybody has access to these energies, and eventually, maybe not in this lifetime, but eventually everybody will be awake because we're all learning at the same time. That's why we're all the same. Like there are not people that don't have souls, okay? There's people who have mental illness that makes them not right. But that's literally a physical deficit. That's not them not having a soul. They're just not able to access it because they have a disability basically in this lifetime. They have a mental illness in this lifetime. And that's a whole type of learning. And the thing is, like, you know, there's so many things about narcissists, sociopaths, psychopaths, and they're terrible to deal with. They will ruin your life, right? And not even care. But the thing is, everybody who's on the spiritual path, who is like really trying to lead a good life now and super compassionate and super empath, every one of us has had a lifetime as one of those things, at least. We've all been everything. That's the point. That's why we go through all these different lifetimes. We're all being everything. And that's why it gets so frustrating, like hearing all these ridiculous claims of superiority from people, right? With the ants here, it's like that type of mindset leads to attacks. How does that lead to anything good, right? And the thing is, like, we're all just here learning from our guides. We're all here learning from the earth experience. And we're all like earning our stripes, right? We're all learning to walk around on these different timelines and these different connections in the cosmos and see things from a higher perspective while also learning how to protect ourselves, how to navigate dark nights of the soul, and how to find our soul family again and again, while also learning how to balance all of that, right? So that we can like do our purpose here, because everybody has a different goal for each lifetime, as I understand it. For some people, you know, the focus is more on balancing the self and, you know, just finding that happy medium, finding joy in the journey. For some, it's more about like blessing and healing others who are still struggling or really far behind, helping people awaken and gain their spiritual power while still being able to have fun and be able to ground. And for some, it's like really about breaking the matrix by being more of a light in the dark or a voice in the silence, right? There's so many different things. But ultimately, like the reminder here is that everybody's connected. We're all ultimately, like, even though we have sub soul families, we're all one group. Like we're all one thing, because I'm always told that's what the gods, God, whatever, however you think of it, is. It's all like many faces of one thing. That's why I have no issue understanding God as both one thing and many things. Some people are like, how could that be? I don't know. But I think it kind of makes sense in a way that'll never make sense. But you get what I'm saying. Like, all of this stuff is going on right now. And just don't get wrapped up in the people who are all about how special we are and all about focusing on how hard everything is. And it's all, you know, everybody's going through stuff, right? But sometimes that can lead to you getting stuck in fear and attacking either yourself or others, right? Or it's us against the reptilians. Give me a break. There's good and bad of everything. I'm going to go off about the reptilians for a second because I'm being told to. The reptiles as a group, because reptilians as a race of energies, right? Whatever, however you want to think of them, as an energy, they can be super predatory and terrible, or they can be the reptiles that we have on Earth and similar, which are ancient, beautiful, wise, one of the oldest beings on the planet. You know, like they literally helped us build life on this planet, which was being overseen by the divine. And they do help with grounding as well. And the thing about reptiles is they never fake it. That's what I'm being told. If any of you have ever had a reptile or interacted with reptiles, they do operate on a different wavelength than us because they don't have an ego and they live primarily within the realm of survival. And that is necessary for what they are doing. That's part of their purpose here. And that's the thing, like not everybody, we're not ever going to fully understand the purpose of everything, but I'm always told everything does have a purpose. Good, bad, ugly, weird, like whatever. It's all here for good. It's all helping to birth new things and good things. And some of them we need to be protected from, right? But that's just the way of things, you know? I think the biggest thing that I've recognized in my own learning and just what my guides have told me and my ancestors is people, humanity, especially light workers, people that have been on the path for a long time, are extremely disturbed by duality. And duality can be very disturbing. And there's a lot of like movements and psyops and groups and even religions and whatever. There's all kinds of different ways of thinking that are all about leaning one way or the other, right? Nobody wants to be around the negative, and maybe you shouldn't want to. It's not a great thing, but everybody does go through it. And to pretend it's not there and to pretend it doesn't serve a purpose is putting on a mask and ignoring the way of things, ultimately. Like, yes, we're here for a purpose to balance, and they're here for a purpose to disrupt. And it is what it is. And I think that coming to terms with that is also a big part of Lionsgate energy, because it is, you know, this is a timeless reading, but at the time I'm recording, we're just going through Lionsgate. It's like the evening of, I guess, the night of. And we're going through a big healing around what we see as predatory and how we see ourselves, if we see ourselves as the lamb or the shark, right? Or if we're the ones that are, you know, cunning, if we're the ones that are hiding. There's so many different things. If we're the ones that are transmuting, coming back, jumping over it, whatever. Like, the energy here is about coming to peace and understanding in the fact that a big part of it here is about suffering. It is inevitable, and it's not what to focus on, right? But also don't swing fully the other way. What I mean by that is I'm going to use veganism as an example. I have no hate for you if you're a vegan. Okay, I was a vegan for like 4 years. Hardcore vegan. I went after people, man. And I got so sick. I did everything right, but I have an autoimmune disease and a million allergies, and it just did not work for me. And, you know, people were so nasty to me whenever I realized that a lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people actually get into veganism, for example, because it's coming from a place of surviving trauma and not wanting to inflict more. And there's nothing wrong with not wanting to inflict more trauma, but whenever you get so hateful about it that you're going after people who are not doing anything wrong and like just living their lives, right? Maybe focused on other stuff, or that's not best for them or their body, whatever, or their journey, for example. That's when it gets ridiculous, because it turns into this like hateful, like I'm better than you elitist thing. And anytime that you're going through that and saying like I'm above this duality, it gets, yeah. Nobody's above any duality ultimately. We do our best. Everybody does their best with what they're here to do, right? But it's not for us to judge. It's good to have boundaries, is what Spirit always tells me. Like, always have your boundaries. But if you're out here judging, it's not your place. And Spirit will smack the shit out of you whenever you do it. Honest to God, like something will happen every time to make you be like, well, I'm seeing the other side of it now. And, you know, that even happens lifetime to lifetime. It especially happens lifetime to lifetime. Get a couple tarot cards. What was I saying about going through things lifetime to lifetime to like smack the shit out of you? Oh my goodness. I don't know. It's interesting because, you know, I don't mean to rant, but I feel like I'm just straight channeling because I don't remember a lot of what's come through ultimately. And that happens when Spirit's talking through me. But it's interesting because they'll bring through these kind of messages about almost contradicting, right? And it's so that we don't think we know everything. That communication that Spirit brings through is always going to be for our highest good, what we need to know at this time. And since you were in my collective, odds are you've been through all sides of things. You know, I don't have like a goody two shoes collective. I have people who have lived pretty hard in one way or another, really explored, really like gone hard to give their compassion to others. And a lot of us have had to learn how to get that satisfaction for ourselves, how to deal with the wheel of fortune because we've been on all sides of it. How to deal with the past. And the reason is because, you know, this is a time, all times really, are judgment. Spiritual judgment doesn't just happen now. Like, this is just something that's always balancing. And that's the thing about spiritual warfare. Like, I use it as a hashtag and I use it to convey to you what I'm speaking about. But I don't think of spiritual warfare as something that's ever going to be over in a way. Like, I think spiritual warfare is just one aspect of the wheel of fortune. You know, when we're feeling like we're at the bottom of the wheel and things are going real bad, right? Things are hard and you have to be in like your Queen of Swords energy, regardless of gender. It's tough. And it really is like an attack, because what happens is when you're at the bottom of the wheel, you have to transmute your fear. You have to learn how to accept that life is very difficult and we do live in a matrix because that's the way things are here. And perhaps in other systems, other lifetimes, other dimensions, that wasn't the case. And that's the way of things there. And we've already experienced that, right? You can't go back to that because we choose to be here now. And the most interesting thing about being on Earth, I think, and being incarnated as a human, that a lot of light workers get really stuck on is I want this to be my last lifetime. I'm over it. Okay, everyone's felt that way. And I don't think that a lot of the people who are saying that are in their last lifetime. Let's just put it that way. Because if you are really learning the lessons here, you'll find that you are cool with whatever. Like, not in the sense that you have no boundaries about things, but more so the fact that life becomes pretty enjoyable and interesting whenever you can be on either side of the wheel and find peace, because it's all part of the learning and you're just fascinated with what's happening. That's not to say it's easy, but that is to say that the Hanged Man is an energy that isn't a bad thing. The Hanged Man energy is the endless student. And if you are like me, you'll find that being a student is incredibly enjoyable. And it's one of the keys that can unlock a lot of doors for you towards your own fulfillment. No matter who's around you, no matter what's around you, everything can be a teacher to you. Good, bad, ugly, whatever. And it'll really help you to be able to create new things for yourself and not get stuck in feeling like everybody's out here to attack you. Even if there are people out here to attack you, if you're just fascinated by, wow, this is a huge lesson, and I'm really just watching the way people interact, and I'm not feeling necessarily triggered by this. I'm accepting that this is what's happening, and this is the energy that's coming at me. This is the energy that I'm in right now. And you know what I mean? Like, just kind of observing. Still dealing with your emotions, of course. This isn't to say that you should avoid your emotions, but it's so important right now to be with it. Be with the duality. Don't try to lean out of it and try to like smooth it over as something cute. Just observe, you know? Because I don't know, the thing about being in grief and being in trauma healing is I personally, in my experience, like really didn't come through this energy, this Ten of Wands, like feeling of being attacked, feeling like there's no way to get through this until I got to the Hanged Man, the student energy. And I was like, I'm cool to hang here, actually. I'm not even uncomfortable being upside down. I'm hanging in the tree right now, and everything looks different down here. And I'm gonna like learn to be satisfied with things looking different. You know? I'm gonna learn to be a student right now because there's clearly something I need to understand here. I'm gonna tell you guys a story actually. When I was maybe 22, it wasn't that long ago, but when I was like 22-ish, I did not want to be alive anymore. I went through a lot of bad things and nobody believed me. A lot of, my family was smearing me to each other. They were kind of like, everybody had something to gain from saying I was wrong, okay, about my own experiences, my own pain. And I didn't know what to do about it. I had no idea how to handle my emotions or how to be with my emotions. So I went to a lake one day and I was sitting by the lake and I was contemplating whether or not I should continue. And I sat there for a long time until this old man saw me and he came over and I was like kind of confused because I'm not really somebody who goes out of my way to interact with people, especially when I'm feeling like that, right? I wasn't crying or anything, but I certainly wasn't happy. And this old man, like, he seeked me out. He really came from the whole way across the beach and he sat down next to me and he was like, how are you today? What's going on with you? And he had this entire conversation with me where he didn't ask my name. He didn't ask for really anything about my life, but he got to the heart of things, of why I was there. He could tell. And I was realizing that he was an angel or a light worker. There was some being that was working through this man, and he was an older light worker. I knew because I could see the energy around him. He had a bright light around his head and his neck. Is kind of like, halo energy. That's what that is. It's illuminated. And like a mane, right? But anyway, So I could see this energy around him, and I had been asking God, who I didn't really understand that well then, but I had been asking God, like, why is this happening? What am I supposed to be doing? This man came over and answered every one of the questions that I asked in my head. I never told this man any of it. I didn't tell him that he was answering my questions, but he totally knew. He was very normal with me. He didn't handle me with kids' gloves or anything. And he was very strong and encouraging. And he was like, you're going to get through this. It was kind of like this very gentle buck up, you know, and, you know, things suck right now, but you're going to be okay. Um, you know, they hear you. You'll be good. And he basically told me that I would be doing this for somebody else at some point, and that was unimaginable to me then. I felt like the biggest disaster piece of crap. Anyway, this man talked to me for maybe 45 minutes, and he left, and I never saw him again. Never saw that man again. And I think about him sometimes because he was one of the first, like, older, real light workers that I met. And he was a real one, man. He came up to me. He knew exactly what his mission was. I know he knew. He looked at me and I could tell that he was told to come over, right? And be this. I keep this on my desk. To be this ray of hope. And that man didn't wax poetic. He did none of that. He was so grounded. He was so normal. He knew I wasn't ready for that. I was still very deeply ingrained in a lot of matrix crap, even though I had paranormal experiences all the time. I thought I was going crazy, and he validated every single thing without me ever telling him, because he understood that the way that the Earth Mother, the way that the universe works, and the way that light workers are supportive right now through this time in the matrix is we're here to transmute the timelines by bringing to neutral first. We're not here to say, oh, you're wrong, and this part of what you're saying isn't right, and blah, 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 blah. If somebody comes to you for that, sure, but kidding me? If that man had come over and tried to tell me I was wrong about feeling the way I did, knowing nothing about my life, I'd have been out of there so quick. And who knows? Who knows what would have happened, right? But because he came over and was just very matter of fact and very grounded, very accepting, he put me in the hangman energy with him at that time, brought me to neutral without even having me tell him too much. I didn't even know his name. He didn't know my name. Didn't matter. He recognized me. He's like, that's a young light worker right there. This is my assignment today. I'm gonna go over. And I remember asking him, what made you come to the beach? Because we both had this moment of like recognition and we both kind of acknowledged it. And what he said was, I was told to come here. I actually turned around from this location I was going to go down the road. He's like, Spirit just told me to come here. And I was like, okay. And that was why, you know, my guides, his guides, the earth was working through him, just as the earth works through you and through the people who have done this for you, whoever you are watching this. And if that man had come in and not had that sense of actually enjoying the hangman energy, do you think he would have wanted to sit on the beach for 45 minutes with my depressed ass? And I, since then, right, this was never my plan, you kidding me? But through all the different things that have come up in my life, including pretty severe illness, which was why I started doing this work full time. I would have never had the guts to do that, but I had no choice because spirit kind of knocked me to that point. Life knocked me to that point. But since that, I've touched thousands of people. And I don't say that in like a crazy way. Like, you've touched thousands of people. We all do it in different ways. And it's important that we show up in this hangman energy first before trying to be like something huge, right? You don't come in the lion energy. You come in the hangman energy and feel it out and get your appointments from spirit, right? You get what I'm saying? You bring things to neutral first. It wasn't important for him to show up in this energy for me. It would have been too much. Probably would have ruined his day even more too. But because he was really cool with being in that hangman energy, and he was like, I enjoy the balancing. I enjoy the mission. Probably sitting on the beach for 45 minutes made him feel better because he was smiling when he left and it wasn't fake. And who knows? Who knows how things would be different without him doing that, or without me doing the things I did, without you doing the things you do. We all have these specific ways we're supposed to show up for things. And it's important not to get stuck in the heavy parts of things, stuck in the duality of things one way or the other, thinking that you're being super good or thinking that everything's terrible, because that pulls us out of that balancing. And that's what we're here to do. You know, we're like the time travelers, the time workers now. Time workers, balancers, okay? And first and foremost, you're that. That's what this healing energy really is from you, is being able to be cool with it and not force anything. All right. Anything else, please? I think we're good. All right, guys, that is what I have for you. That was a little bit all over the place, but I hope that you got what you needed from this. I'm sending you guys so much love and peace. Please remember to hit the little bell icon so that you're updated every time that I post. Please remember to share this message as well if it calls to you, because I did decide to change my giveaway to give away 2 free readings at 500 subscribers now. So, you know, keep that in mind. And I'd love to see you on Patreon. I'd love to see you in one-on-one readings, energy healing, animal communication, whatever that may be that speaks to you. And you can check out my crystal shop. Anyway, I love you guys so much. I'll see you next time. Bye.